Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Day video. It's Tuesday, which means another Masternode Shootout update video. This is for week 28, and as this is a 4-weekly update, later this week I'll be doing a full update of all the different revenue streams and how it's going overall. But today, just concentrating on masternodes. And the good news is that no technical issues this last week. We've had quite a good run actually. No updates or downtime at all across any of these kind of masternodes for the last kind of month or so. So that's been really good. Unfortunately, not replicated in price movement. So obviously Bitcoin has been had a kind of like a bit of a swing down this last week. Just yesterday it popped back up. I think as I'm recording this on Tuesday morning, it's trading around $10,800, but has been down a bit this kind of week, and it's dragged all the alts and specifically a lot of these kind of small cap coins have dropped quite a lot this last week. In particular, in the list here we have Syndicate. Now I mentioned last week, or was it the week before, that Syndicate was going to be delisted from Bittrex, and that if you had any that you were holding on to, it might be a good time to get rid of it. I hope you did, because it's dropped probably about 60% this last week, so down massively over the last couple of weeks. I think it's probably down, must be down about 70% on where it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the delisting from Bittrex, which is upcoming, I think that's in the next few days, has been pretty catastrophic for the price of Syndicate. It's a very similar situation to what we saw with kind of Bulwark when Cryptopia went down earlier in the year, but yeah, really bad week for Syndicate. And with the exception of Metrix, which had a little bit of a price increase this week, everything else has been going down really kind of across the board. But let's jump in and have a look at the Masternode rewards. So starting at the top of the list with Vulcano, 855 Vulcano worth $1.18, 69 Bulwark worth $2.18, 252 Helix worth 23 cents, 12,800 Metrix worth $7.15, 384 SmartCash worth $2.77, and finally Syndicate, 63 Syndicate worth 40 cents. So that's a grand total of $13.91. We jump over to the chart, you can see basically exactly where we were last week, which is pretty appalling. These are our second and third worst weeks after this kind of week 8 sort of catastrophe. So yeah, way down on where we've been the last few weeks and months. So we had this sort of 2 or 3 month period here where things were going pretty nicely, and then this last couple of weeks really pretty awful in terms of rewards, and that's largely just down to kind of price. So as I said, Syndicate price down massively. Bulwark continues to kind of trickle kind of downwards, and there's been a downward trend really across the board. So Helix, only a very cheap masternode, but down in prices last week. Vulcano has a slow steady decline basically all year. SmartCash, rather surprisingly, has done the same. Yeah, just, you know, kind of price across the board pretty poor. Metrix, the only one kind of like as a standout performer. It's up just under 44%, so that's up about 10%. The interesting thing is Metrix number one, obviously. Helix still in a second position. There's no difference in prices, in positions from last week. The big difference is, so SmartCash and Syndicate 4th and 5th this week and last week. Last week, SmartCash was on minus 34%, Syndicate minus 34.7, I think it was. So very close. And you can see now there's an 11% difference between them now, really indicative of, you know, just that drop in price of Syndicate this last week. So across the board, not looking good at the moment. We'll have to see, you know, whether a sustained kind of bull market means that some money will start to kind of move from Bitcoin into the large alts, and then maybe from the large alts down into these smaller altcoins. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, if I was kind of setting up this experiment now, I wouldn't be choosing these masternodes by any kind of stretch. Metrix has been a positive story, I think, this kind of this year, but everything else has either had sort of like big catastrophic kind of news like Bulwark and Syndicate, like the delistings from Bittrex in the case of Syndicate, Cryptopia going down in the case of Bulwark, and the team walking away and that being picked up by the community. But other stuff like kind of Vulcano and SmartCash and Helix, to a certain extent, very new coin Helix, but Vulcano and SmartCash just a slow, steady kind of like bleed in price throughout the year, particularly surprising with kind of SmartCash, which I thought might do something pretty decent this year. I was completely wrong on that so far, but it does have a very large kind of community. They are trying to do something more than just your average kind of like, we're a sort of stake in a masternode coin. So they've got a lot going on with SmartCash, but not reflected in the price by any stretch. So congratulations to Metrix, #1 position. Again, that's been for quite a few weeks now, 4 or 5 weeks, I think. On the trot, it's been #1 position. Everything else doing pretty kind of badly. Helix down 15%, so not catastrophic, but everything else really suffering this week. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. We'll see if this kind of turns around, whether we can get like a little uptick in price or a little spike in one of these other coins, maybe something like kind of SmartCash, or even kind of Vulcano or something like that. I think Syndicate now is, with the delisting from Bittrex, is pretty much dead. Bulwark, yeah, I think we've seen the big kind of bleed out, but whether it can actually kind of pull back from this kind of position at all this kind of year is, I think, increasingly debatable as the months roll on. So not great news revenue kind of wise, but just want to keep you update with what's going on. If you stick around, as I said, we're doing a full update video on all the different revenue streams later this week, and I've got a load of new videos coming out over the next couple of weeks as well. But thanks as always for watching. Leave me your comments below. It's always good to hear from you, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.